Hey, it's me, Egbert. E-G-G-B-U-R-T. Check out my website at egbert.com. Now it's back to those two dudes who told me they would bring in big ratings. They better are their history. Here are Brad and John.
Take your stinking paws off me, you dirty ape!
That's
so good.
That's the line that who contacted you on that? Which was that's the clean version? Isn't that the clean version?
Yeah, that's Scott Fawn's guy, Helton Turner, who's a jack of all trades and a master of many at the Missouri Times and This Week in Missouri Politics. He said there's actually, as you would say when you call one of your kids, Brad, there's a potty word. There's a potty mouth word in there.
So they edited that out. That's the clean version, correct?
Correct, yep.
Interesting. Okay. Are you familiar with this guy that runs the company called Sticker Mule? You know this story?
No, I don't.
Okay, this is somewhat interesting. This is in Amsterdam, New York. The guy's name is Anthony Constantino, and he's formed this company. It's actually become very successful. And what's interesting about it is he's a big champion of manufacturing in the United States, and he bought an old factory building. I think it's like a 6 or 7 story old factory building that he runs his business out of. It has printing and does other stuff besides stickers now. But he started out just doing stickers, custom stickers, things like that. And he's become very successful. And he put up on the roof of his building 100-foot wide. Matter of fact, it's funny when you look at the picture, it looks very much like the Budweiser sign on the side of the Budweiser brewery when you go into downtown St. Louis. Huge, monstrous letters. The thing is 100 feet wide. I don't know how many feet tall, 20, 30 feet tall. Big letters. It just says, "Vote for Trump."
And where is this, Brad?
Amsterdam, New York, okay?
Oh,
and,
okay.
And apparently you can see his building quite easily from one of the major highways in that area. And he ran into big trouble with the city of Amsterdam at one point in time. He had to, literally, they actually had to go up and cover the sign with tarps. He won. And essentially he fought it, and he now essentially won against the city of Amsterdam, New York, for essentially violating his freedom of speech, which I think is sort of interesting because he's essentially saying, look, I'm campaigning for this guy. You can't tell me that I can't do this. And the city said he didn't have a permit, he didn't have this, he didn't have that, the lights were too bright, blah, 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 blah. And, I mean, how do you feel about that? Let's say in the St. Louis area, let's say right at the corner of 40 and 270, let's say Mercy Hospital put in great big letters, "Vote for Kamala" on the roof of their building. Would you contact Creve Corps and say, hey, Creve Corps, enforce the ordinance. They didn't get a permit for that.
No, I mean, I guess every, I hate to give like sort of a legalese answer, but I guess every municipality has their own sign rules, but I wouldn't have any problem with it. I don't, I mean, obviously the real issue here is that the guy is a Trump supporter. So let's give him trouble and let's give him hell, right?
Well, yeah, that's the subtext of that. And the interesting thing was you do the Tony Colombo's flip test, and if it would have said "Vote for Kamala" on the top of his building in Amsterdam, New York, would they have gone after him? Because of the fact
they would be. Now this Constantino guy, the name sounds Italian, so I'm thinking just for at least through Indigenous Peoples Day, he should talk something about the suffering that white people inflicted on Native Americans.
Okay.
And then switch the sign back to Trump.
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute, okay? We took down the Civil War Memorial statue in Forest Park. We took down I didn't, but the city of St. Louis took down the Christopher Columbus statue. Was that in Tower Grove Park? Was that where that was?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay. Is life any better now?
Yeah, it's much better. I mean, haven't you seen some of the numbers, Brad?
No, I haven't, John. Tell me.
Yeah, I think as part of the Renaissance, I think what really kicked off the Renaissance were removing some of these statues. They were vestiges of an imperialistic evil time, Brad. And I think that we've seen that the St. Louis City residents behave better. I think we see an improvement in urban youth. I think they're more inspired by the fact we can remove some of these old white men and we're going to have better behavior.
And obviously the city of St. Louis School District has got much better since the statues are down, correct?
They have. And you can thumb at the school, you can ride a skateboard, or you can ride a scooter. Now, one of the things, Brad, that I think that we missed out on this year was I'm kind of thinking that in 2025, we apply for a St. Louis Development Corp grant to replace some of those statues with some of our favorite black leaders in the city. And I'm just like spitballing, like maybe Stan Stovall. He was a black news reporter. I remember liking him when I was a kid. Tito Landrum was one of my favorite Cardinals. Anyway, St. Louis Development Corp is just giving out money. Like, I don't know why we couldn't work out some kind of a deal to replace those white men statues with some Pacs. Well, and not Tupac. I mean, people of color.
What bothers me is there are things where they rename things, and to the point where my perfect example in my traffic reporting days, everybody referred to it, and why this was, I think this started with Don Miller a long time ago. He called it the Poplar Street Bridge. The official name of that bridge was and it was the bridge that carried I-70 and 55 and technically 64 later across the Mississippi River just south of the Arch in downtown St. Louis. The official name of that bridge was the Bernard F. Dickman Bridge, and we used to refer to it as the BFD, right? Which was,
yeah, that's right.
The BFD. Okay, they changed the name of the bridge. Now, to me, if you're going to honor somebody, you're going to honor that person forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Why is it that we can now say, well, Bernard F. Dickman, you had your day, and now it's the Clay Bridge. It's who's the senior? It's Lacey was the junior.
William Clay Sr.
Clay.
I mean, here's the thing: did Dickman, was he ever related to somebody who once knew a guy who visited a plantation in the 1800s?
I don't think so.
Okay, well then maybe we should go make it Dickman again.
Let me even see if I Google him if he comes up, because I think he was Bernard Bernard F. Dickman. I believe he was a former mayor. Dickman. Let's see if he comes up. Bernard F. Dickman. Wikipedia. They do have a page for him. Bernard F. Dickman, born in 1888, died. He was an old guy. Died in 71. He was the 34th mayor of the city from 33 to 41, and he was in office April 18th, 1933 to April 15th, 1941. Born in St. Louis, died 83 years old. He moved to Collins, Mississippi. Don't know why that is. Dickman started work at the age of 16, working for a lumber company in St. Louis. His later business career was in real estate. In April 1933, Dickman was elected mayor of St. Louis. The United States was suffering from the effects of the Great Depression, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt had just elected president. Dickman's election marked the first time in 24 years that a Democrat had been elected mayor of St. Louis. Boy, that's weird. They were all Republicans up until
I know, back in the day.
It's also marked the first time a Democrat was elected with the support of a formidable African-American political organization, the Cooperative Civic Association, led by Jordan Chambers. Dickman kept black support by building a long-promised modern hospital for the black community, which Republican Mayor Henry Keel had promised would be paid for with $87 million in 1923 bond issue. By fulfilling his promise, Dickman helped transform St. Louis from majority Republican to majority Democrat. Wow! This is interesting.
Wow, what a hero. And look, things have gotten much better since then.
And they took his name off the bridge. I mean, where were the black people complaining about that they took Bernard Dickman's name off the bridge when he championed the black people? I didn't know that part of the story.
He was no Bill Clay Sr., that's for sure, Brad.
Oh, here we go. This is interesting. During Mayor Dickman's administration, the city acquired and cleared the land along the riverfront that would become the Gateway Arch National Park, known as the Jefferson National Expansion Memorial, and developed the Gateway Arch. During Mayor Dickman's administration, the city also erected a smoke ordinance and took steps to reduce the air pollution created by the extensive use of coal for home heating and industrial use in the city. This guy's a hero to the left. In 1941, Dickman sought a third term as mayor. He was defeated by Republican, oh my God, we go back to Republicans, William D. Becker. Dickman was delegate to the Missouri Constitutional Convention in 1943. In December 1943, he was appointed St. Louis postmaster. He was the postmaster, a position he held until 1958. In 1949, while serving as the postmaster of St. Louis, Dickman married Beulah Pat Harrington, the postmistress of Mount Olive, Mississippi. Hold on, whoa. Back that up for a minute. He married Beulah Pat Harrington, the postmistress of Mount Olive, Mississippi. Have you ever heard that word before, John?
No. Wow. What a title.
Yes. The postmaster and the postmistress, they're back in the mailroom and they're sorting mail, so to speak.
Oh, there you go, Brad.
In 1959, Mayor Raymond Tucker, and see, we used to be 12th Street. That's now called Tucker. In 1959, Mayor Raymond Tucker appointed Dickman as director of the city's newly established Department of Welfare, and he served in that position for 2 years. After completing his government service, Dickman continued the real estate business. He died in Collins, Mississippi on December 9, 1971 at the age of 83. The Poplar Street Bridge crossing the Mississippi River at St. Louis was formally named in his honor. He's interred in St. Peter's and Paul Cemetery in South St. Louis. So here's a guy that champions the blacks, and he ends a reign of, 24 years of Republican mayors in the city of St. Louis?
Yeah. Ending the oppression of the Republican oppression.
And we take his name off the bridge. I mean, isn't that disrespect?
I don't know. Maybe there's still a plaque around that's been defaced and defiled and overrun with graffiti. I don't know. Maybe he got a plaque or something like that. Maybe his family got a nice set of steak knives or something. I don't know, like a consolation gift.
Can I make a stupid comment? Okay.
Yeah, please do.
I think that there should be a rule, and I'm the libertarian kind of guy, but I say there should be a rule that all these things that have names, they're like, you drive along a highway, there's certain parts of the highway that are dedicated to, people. Like, for example, there's a new overpass on I-70 between Wentzville and Forestell, okay? Who is that person? Nobody knows. I think there should be some kind of rule that if you're going to name something after somebody, there should be a plaque which gives a brief description of who that person was, and also a QR code on that plaque that you can, essentially scan the code and pull up a biography of that person and why it was deemed necessary to dedicate a bridge, a portion of the interstate, a building to that person. What do you think, John?
I think I know exactly why you support this and why you have this idea. I think you want signs up detailing why this stretch of roadway has been named in someone's honor and what they're doing, because deep down, Brad, that having more signage, particularly in small font, will create more accidents, more opportunities for you to call 911, and more opportunities for old lady dispatchers to pat you on the head and say, "We didn't have anybody call. In fact, good job, Bradley. Now here's a cookie. Call us again tomorrow when you see a muffler laying in the right lane."
Well, once again, John, if a car goes over that muffler and puts it into the air and it goes through the windshield of somebody's car and ends up killing somebody, that's not something you just, say.
Ooh, this got macabre quickly.
Well,
More likely, it's just going to break their windshield, and they're going to follow Brad's rule, which is if you get a little ding on your windshield, always call your insurance company. Because you know what? Deal with the premium next month. Who cares? Deal with the increased rates next month.
John,
get home, replace your windshield, get home, scalp your grass. This is the Brad Hildebrand approach to life.
I have a friend who recently told me a story that a lady she works with, I believe it was one of her sons, was driving along a highway in Oklahoma City, and a tire came off a car going the opposite direction, bounced down the highway, came through, hit him directly through the windshield, and now he is a paraplegic. So once again, things on the highway, you call 911. John's making fun of the fact that John has never, ever, 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 ever in his life dialed 911. There are weeks I go by, I've dialed 911 2 or 3 times. And John's making fun of the fact that I reported a 2-car accident, 2 or 3 weeks ago, on 364 to Missouri Highway Patrol, and the dispatcher took my name and phone number, and the trooper who was working the accident actually called me and wanted to know if I saw the accident, and told me that I was the only call they got, and thanked me for calling in the accident. And John makes fun of that. John makes fun of me being a good citizen, me being, as Miss Lois would say, a good doobie.
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes I think that 911 has me blocked. Like, I called Tuesday, and I'm like, "Hey, streaming is down." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Go to egbert.com, skip through all the Latin writing that's never been deleted, and click on Egbert's note. You'll see streaming is down." And then they're like, sir, that's not an emergency. So I called them again on Wednesday, and I called them again on Thursday. And then I called them this morning, and they said, we're going to have one of our frequent callers run down the hall and fix the streaming. And it worked. So I guess you're right, Brad. I guess technically I have called 911 for an emergency. Now, I keep calling about Westplex 1071 because I want to hear people from New York talk about Central Park because that's really of local interest. And they haven't fixed Westplex 1071. So I don't know. Maybe they'll get on that.
John, there's only so many hours in the day, and I have to tell you that yesterday, and I'm looking at the monitor right now, and I'm so happy. Yesterday, I tackled a technical problem which has been driving me nuts for like a month now. And with the help of the guy from T-Mobile, this is a wireless router we're using, and I won't exactly explain the whole deal. And he said to me, you need to put a router between our router and your codec. And I'm going like, do you think that'll work? I literally got a phone with him, drove down to what's the place, Micro Center, bought a cheapest router I could get because I don't really care if it has throughput and Wi-Fi 7. I went to the transmitter site, worked on that for 2 hours, and it's working perfectly. So I fixed one problem, and according to John, I have a website problem, I have a streaming problem. So I guess I got my work cut out for me today, right?
I may be. And Brad, you do a great job tackling all these. We're not going to get back into the monthly argument about the fact that you have too many projects because I've released on that. I've decided that's not my battle, and you can add more challenges and more issues. But you do a great job keeping the station on the air, Brad. And there are so many things that we don't see. And by the way, you're great at dismissing compliments out of hand. You'll brush this off and move on, and everybody will be like, wow, Brad can't take a compliment. And I'll be like, I know, but it's important the listeners hear it anyway. You do a great job, Brad, of keeping the station on the air. And there are so many things that go into this that none of us see, but you do them every day and you don't brag about it. And we're all better off for it.
John, I didn't hear a word you say. The computer cut out. If something happened, I heard.
You know what? It's a sign, Brad, that you can't take a sincere compliment. But I want listeners to hear it anyway because it's important they know how much you do for us.
John, we have to go. It's past on time. We're 30 seconds into the next hour, which is a no-no according to John. We've got to move on at 8 o'clock. We'll be here on Monday, correct? I mean, I'll assume that. You're good with that.
Yeah, I'll be here. I'm going to be in my Indian garb. I'm going to stand really still outside a cigar shop, but I'll be there.
Okay. You're going to be down in Cherokee Street then, right? That's what you're doing?
I am with the rest of the engines.
All right.
I'll see you on Monday, Brad.
Okay.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?